Job Hunt by M.G. Higgins. Nina finds a seat on the school bus. Ella sits next to her. The sisters are new to the U.S. They moved here 6 months ago from Costa Rica. Nina reaches for her phone. Then she remembers it broke. "I really need a phone," Nina says in Spanish. "Ask the Longs," Ella says. The Longs are their foster parents. "I should buy it myself. I'll get a job." "You barely speak English," Ella says. "I'm getting better," Nina says in English. Ella smiles. "I should get a job too," Ella says. "I spoke to my counselor about careers. She asked me what I like to do. I said cooking. So she said to look for a job at a restaurant." "What else did your counselor say?" Nina asks. "She said to go to job fairs," Ella says. "Networking is important too." "That sounds hard," Nina says. "Just go to businesses then," Ella says. "Ask if they're hiring." "Where do you want to work?" "I love clothes," Nina says. "Let's try the mall," Ella says. "We could both find jobs there." That night, Nina and Ella tell the Longs their plan. "Look for part-time jobs," Mrs. Long says. "School takes most of your time." "You will need Social Security cards," Mr. Long adds. He checks the Social Security website. "You have to go to the office," he says. "Show them your green cards. This proves you can work in the U.S. You have to prove your age, too. I'll take you tomorrow." Nina and Ella apply for cards. They come in the mail 2 weeks later. The sisters wait until the next day. After school, they take the bus to the mall. They go to the stores that sell clothes. 2 are hiring. Nina gets forms to fill out. Next, they go to the food court. Ella sees a friend from school. He's wearing a Burger Barn uniform. This is a good chance to network, she thinks. "Is Burger Barn hiring?" Ella asks him. "No," he says, "but I heard that Pizza Time needs workers." Ella thanks him. She goes to the Pizza Time counter. A woman says to apply online. Nina is waiting at a table. She's looking at the applications. There are a lot of blank spaces. "Come on," Ella says, "let's go home." After dinner, Ella sits at the computer. She applies for the job at Pizza Time. Nina starts to fill out her applications. Mrs. Long offers to help. First, Nina fills in her name and address. She writes her phone number. There's a space for her Social Security number. The form also asks for work experience. Nina does not have any. "List your skills," Mrs. Long says. "Name your best classes. Is there a teacher you can use for a reference? Think of someone who can say you will work hard." "My math teacher," Nina says. "Ask him tomorrow," Mrs. Long says. "Then you will be ready to apply." Pizza Time calls a week later. They want to meet with Ella. Zappa Clothes calls for Nina. "I have an interview," Nina tells Ella. She looks worried. "It's on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Ella smiles. "We can ride the bus to the mall together. My interview is later that same day." It's Saturday. Nina sleeps late. "Nina," Ella calls out, "your interview is in an hour." Nina quickly gets dressed. She's wearing shorts. Ella starts to say something, but they are late. They have to go now. The bus gets to the mall. It is after 10 o'clock. Ella goes to the food court. Nina hurries to the store. A woman is waiting there. "Hello." I'm Miss Banks, the store manager. Nina glances up at her, but then quickly looks away. Miss Banks reaches out to shake Nina's hand. Nina barely touches the woman's fingertips. They head to an office in the back. Nina slumps down in her chair. Do you have a resume? Miss Banks asks. No, Nina says. Miss Banks looks at Nina's application. I see that you haven't had a job before, she says. Your skills are good, though. You speak Spanish. This reference from your teacher is very good. Nina nods. I have a few questions, Miss Banks says. What do you know about Zappa clothes? Nina thinks. Zappa sells clothes for, a lot of people. What would you do if a customer were angry? Miss Banks asks. Nina tries to think of an answer. She mumbles something. The questions continue. How will you get along with coworkers? Nina is nervous. She misses the question. Her answer makes no sense. I would like to tell you a little about Zappa Clothes, Miss Banks says. We have fun here. Our employees also work hard. They are professional. That includes how they act and dress. We are proud of our workers. Miss Banks stands. Thank you for coming, she tells Nina. Nina thanks her and leaves the store. She heads to the food court. Did you get the job? Ella asks. Nina does not answer. Later, Ella goes to her interview. Nina sits and thinks. She remembers how she was late. Her clothes were not professional. The way she acted was not professional either. Maybe the other store will call. Nina will know what to do. Another week goes by. Ella gets the job at Pizza Time. Finally, Nina gets a call from Just Jeans. They want to meet with her. It is the day of Nina's interview. She gets up early. There is plenty of time to shower and dress. Nina gets to the store on time. She smiles at the manager. They shake hands. This time, Nina sits up straight. She listens to each question. Her answers are clear. I would really like to work here, Nina says. Nina gets a call 2 days later. I got the job. I knew you could do it, Ella says. Thanks, Nina says. I can't wait to start my first job.